Hello everyone. I hope you and your families are doing well. The third wave is already here. As fund managers, always say on TV, it's time to be cautiously optimistic. Again, thank you for joining us at such short notice. Today, I, Anish from JST Investments, will be your moderator, and Aditya Kondavar, or as we call him AK, will give you a detailed overview about what exactly is going on with who Vodafone Idea. But before that, let's try to understand what exactly drives the telecom business. So please start, AK, and brief us about this sector.
Sure. Thanks, Anish. And like Anish said, I hope all of you and your families are doing well in these uncertain times. So, talking about a brief background about the telecom sector, right? It's a very interesting one. It you can you can draw some parallels from the aviation sector because just like aviation sector, there have been a lot of bankruptcies, mergers and acquisitions, and the likes of it in the telecom sector as well. So, before the launch of Geo, there were around nine private players and two government telecom players. Now, thanks to Geo, the count reduced to three private players and two government players. So Vodafone and Idea merged. There's Bharti Airtel and of course Reliance Geo, and there's BSNL and MTNL in the PSU space. So Geo's entry was really the watershed moment for the telecom sector because they introduced free plans in the starting. They had all of these live mobile phones that they gave out for a nominal cost, and then they came in with the built-in internet for 3 to 6 months. I still remember. Uh, they had after that, if that wasn't enough, they followed it up with a dirt cheap data rates. And thanks to all of this, Geo hyper scaled up. They became one of the world's biggest telco companies. They became India's largest telecom company and the world's lowest data cost provider. So even if you see today, thanks to Geo, India has really become the world's largest consumer of data, in GB per month. So of course, it had an effect of all the other players, and obviously all the other players started losing subscribers. They started losing revenue, and hence their average revenue per users also started correcting heavily. So ARPU is a metric that we track in telecom. We look at the number of subscribers and we look at ARPU. So these two in conjunction really tell you how well the business is doing. So ARPU in simple terms is the total revenue by the number of customers. It tells you how much each customer is paying the company, or how much is the company really earning from each customer. So all of this really happened in the telecom sector, and if that wasn't enough, then the government came up and they said that you have to pay average gross revenue, which we call AGR, and the spectrum usage charges, which were again very heavy fees that were levied by the Department of Telecommunications.
Yes, so what I am truly understanding is that Geo entered the business and disrupted it for each and every one, and that led to a failure of a lot of telecom guys. So,
Absolutely.
can anyone just come and enter this business? Because what I have heard is that it's a cash guzzling business. So, could you just
Yeah.
tell us about the entry barriers about this business?
Sure. So I believe that, Anish, yes, anyone can come and, I mean, do try to disrupt the business like Geo did. Telecom business that time. If you remember, we used to pay 250 rupees for 1 GB. That was the whole month's quota. If you remember, I still remember we used to just use internet for like 10-15 minutes on our mobile phones, and from there we have come here today wherein we use 1 GB or 2 GB daily, right? So Geo has truly transformed the telecom sector in India. But even if you look at Geo, they have spent a lot. They did not. Reliance went on a huge leverage cycle. They picked up a lot of debt, of course, and then they have become debt free, as they call themselves now. So of course, the telecom sector is a capital intensive, a capital guzzling business. You can, the the number of expenses that they have just keep going on and on and on. Be it the spectrum charges, or the tower asset charges, the AGR dues, the taxation. The telecom business has to continuously keep spending to stay relevant. Thanks to all of these expenses, a lot of telecom players have had a lot of leverage on their balance sheets. For example, let me talk about the players now, right? So, let me talk about Bharti Airtel first, right? So, they did their 21,000 crores rights issue. They divested some of their assets. They raised debt. They diluted equity. They sold off some tower assets in foreign geographies as well. Geo, of course, we all know that they went on a huge divestment spree, wherein I believe they raised close to 1.5 lakh crores or $20 billion from a clutch of investors. They ended up selling 33% of the company, and of course, a lot of biggies came into the company: Facebook, Google, Silver Lake, the likes of it. Of course, coming to Vodafone India, they wanted to raise funds, but they hit a lot of hurdles. But all of these things, when you look at it as the whole piece of a puzzle, right? So you come to know that telecom companies have been really struggling. They have limited financial resources. They had limited financial resources before Jio's entry, and all of this really accelerated thanks to the cutthroat pricing of Jio. So Geo really had what you say, a playbook in mind, wherein they thought, okay, let me come and disrupt the business, let me kill a lot of players, which they successfully did. And then they thought, okay, let me go on a pricing upcycle now. So this pricing upcycle we will try to talk in the second half of the presentation.
Okay, so now it's like pretty clear to me why like new players can enter this business, but very few will try to do so because the amounts that you were talking about, 10,000, 15,000, 1 lakh crore, I don't think very few companies can, bring that sort of firepower to fight in this particular sector. And you are obviously fighting with the one and only Mukesh Ambani. So
Yeah,
talking about like Vodafone Idea now. So let's get
yeah,
straight to the matter. So at one point in time, it was the largest telecom player out there. When the merger actually happened between Vodafone India and Idea.
yeah,
So
yeah.
from such a glorious history, now we stand today so that this company is not able to pay its debts. So what
Mhm.
exactly led to this, again?
Sure. So, before I tell you about this, you are absolutely right that, no one will really try to enter the telecom business because the nature is such that you are competing with one of the most, uh, how do I put it, one of the most shrewdest businessmen, a businessman who does not give up, and a businessman who really has a lot of backing behind him. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. So it's like aviation. If you have $1 billion, you may end up with $1 million if you come into telecom.
No
So
doubt.
yeah, so talking about Vodafone Idea and Idea cellular marriage, right? So I remember this was in 2018. Uh, people called it the next big thing. They said that this marriage will really fight against Reliance and this and that. But then we all have the outcome in front of us, right? So, like I said, they merged in 2018. In addition, the promoters of the merged entity also infused funds. But after 4 years, also nothing has worked. There has been a subscriber exodus that has happened at Vodafone Idea. ARPUs have been falling, and recently they have picked up a bit because, like I previously said, a lot of, in fact, all of these telecom players have gone on price hikes. These are direct price hikes, or these are indirect price hikes through reducing the validity days of the plans, and sometimes even discontinuing their entry level plans, right? So talking about Vodafone Idea, they had almost 44 crore subscribers as of Q1 FY19. And if I talk about the latest quarter that they have reported, Q2 FY22, they had 25.3 crore subscribers. Not just that, the company's debt is north of 1.6 lakh crores, and their net worth is a negative 74,000 crores. Things got really bad. Things were so bad or so gloomy at the company that the promoter Kumar Mangalam Birla ji also said that he stepped down as the chairman of the company, and he was even ready to hand over the company to the government, just to avert a crisis for the company. Over here, it's very interesting, Anish, that the promoter of the company himself is not so positive about the company, but if you see the kind of interest that Vodafone Idea stock has generated, it seems
Mhm.
as if the investors in those companies are more bullish than the promoter himself.
For sure, they are.
So that's about it. Summing up the problem at Vodafone Idea, I believe that of course, they had a lot of debt, thanks to the competition as well, and thanks to also not having the latest technologies. It's a known fact that a lot of Vodafone Idea customers are still on the older band spectrum bands. 2.5G, 3G. Yeah.
Okay, and do you have anything to share about where this industry is going from now on?
So Anish, the thing is, 5G spectrum auctions are going to be there, and of course, I have been reading a few of the broker reports, and most of them really say that the spectrum auction won't be really successful. Uh, all those reports really say that it's going to be not successful, and then the government will end up discounting all of these airbands by 20, 30, 40%, like it has done in the past. What is really happening is that Vodafone Idea, Bharti, they have been refarming some of their old spectrum to tweak it to the new spectrum bands. But of course, sooner or later they have to spend on 5G capex, because 5G is the future. You would have seen Bharti filing corporate announcements saying that they have been testing 5G and the likes of it. Now, talking about industry, of course, all of this capex, all of this spectrum spending will come at a cost. For example, Crystal says that the industry debt, which is close to 4 lakh crores now, will go to up to 4.6 lakh crores or 5 lakh crores.
Hmm.
Like I said, the telecom industry is a cash guzzling one. But what has really happened, Anish, is that the telecom industry does not have to be really viewed from a telecom kaleidoscope now. There are a lot of things now. For example, let me talk about Bharti Airtel, right? So they have gotten into the data center business. They have gotten into a satellite constellation business, which is something similar to Starlink by Elon Musk. So, all of these companies are slowly getting converted into tech companies, wherein they will have a whole suite of services. They have broadband, they have IoT, they have their corporate businesses. Bharti has been really smart. They invested in foreign assets. Their Africa business is doing well. They have Tanzania tower assets. They invested in OTT platforms. So these businesses have transformed, and the industry is seeing some good times now. Of course, when Vodafone Idea has been leveraged to the extreme, and the government is becoming a stakeholder in them, so virtually the telecom industry may be headed towards a duopoly now, right? Because we all know that the government has no business to be in business. I mean, we have seen a lot of examples wherein the government could not really turn around those the companies that they invested in. So that's about it. The telecom industry from three private players to and two PSU players has effectively become two private players and three government players. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I was getting on. So in one side, you talk about these telecom companies like Geos and Bharti Airtels of the world becoming tech focused, and
Yeah.
they are trying to find new profit pools such that because the older profit pools don't sort of work out, you can't really charge people for calling nowadays because of the disruptions that Geo brought. But
Correct.
second part, you say that government has become the single largest shareholder in the third largest telecom player now. So what
Yeah.
will happen here? Because this is government and technology don't go hand in hand. So just tell me about what exactly is going on here.
Yeah. So government and technology, Anish, as I think you will be the perfect example of that, because I remember you were trying to open a PSU bank account last year, and I still remember that you had nightmares about it. So yeah, jokes aside, so let me just touch upon first what has really happened today, right? So how did government being the largest shareholder come out to be? So all of these companies have AGR and spectrum dues, and they have interest dues on that. So just the interest dues on this deferment amounts to 16,000 crores for Vodafone Idea. So let me just
Wow.
repeat that. It's just the interest on that liability due, right? It's not the principal amount or the due amount. Okay. So what is going to happen is that that 16,000 crores is going to be paid in equity by the company. They exercised that option of converting their dues into equity. Government of India will hold 35.8%, and as you rightly said, they will be the single largest shareholder. Uh, one interesting thing that came out here, Anish, is that they had the option of paying in cash or equity, and then they chose equity. So this single action shows that the company Vodafone Idea itself is not confident of paying all of these dues in cash, despite all of the deferment periods and tariff hikes.
But I think they got a better deal, no? Because Mangalam Birla was willing to give the shares for 0 rupees. At least he
Yeah,
got the government ownership for 10 rupees per share.
and I'll tell you, Anish, this as well. If that wasn't enough,
Uh,
at the end of the 4-year moratorium, right?
hmm.
At the discretion of the government, there is an option for Vodafone Idea to convert principal dues into equity as well.
Okay, so
So imagine.
they will own like 100% of the company or what?
So that may very well be a possibility, Anish, because if they are not confident of paying 16,000 crore rupees, I'm pretty sure they won't be in a position to pay off 70, 80,000, 90,000 crores of principal dues, right?
Yeah, I think that total debt, including all the bank dues and all the other receivables, including the government, is approximately 2 lakh crores.
Absolutely, yeah. I believe so. Yeah,
How will they ever be able to pay when they are diluting equity at 10 rupees a share? The market cap
exactly.
is like 35,000 crores at that point in time.
So, like I said, Anish, what has happened is government's interest dues have been converted into equity. The government will hold 35.8% of the company. Vodafone Group will hold 28.5%, and Aditya Birla Group will hold 17.8%. So, Vodafone Group earlier held 44.4%, and it's down to 28.5 now. And Birla Group held 27.7%, which is down to 17.8% now. So again, even after all of these reliefs, Anish, it's very likely that Vodafone Idea will find it difficult to service their dues unless ARPUs go on a steep up cycle.
But
These are
that looks like a very
very
unlikely
unlikely
case.
because see, the thing is, for example, how do I put this?
Hmm.
So ARPUs today are close to say 150, 160 for everyone, right? They can't just double out.
In like four
Yeah, in
years.
like 4 years, they maybe it may even double out to that level, but I mean it's difficult.
I think it will be driven by different services. Like Vodafone, Airtel will provide you 9 OTT services with it,
Yeah,
and then only they will be able to incrementally get more money from people. Because I don't think people on the road are willing to pay double of what they are paying today.
absolutely,
The volumes can go down drastically
exactly.
until unless the Indian economy expands at a very rapid pace, which we are not seeing happening at this point in time.
So Anish, you put up a very interesting point here. Bundled services is something that both the other players are doing. Bharti and Reliance Jio. But for Vodafone Idea, I don't really see a bundle of services. So what will really happen over here is
Wow.
that for example, if say Vodafone Idea hikes its plans, right, and consumers would really like to be with a Geo or a Bharti because then they are getting that bundle of services at the same price point with the other telecom player, right? So why would they stay with Vodafone Idea? And to be honest, Vodafone Idea does have a lot of network issues as well.
Yeah, I think they haven't been able to incrementally invest in the capex that is
Yeah,
a must requirement in this particular industry, in tens of thousands of crores on a yearly
correct.
basis, just for maintenance,
Absolutely.
not even incrementally adding. So, like, what should one as a shareholder do now, DK?
Okay.
So, this is the biggest
Yeah.
question.
So first of all, sincerely, I hope that you aren't a shareholder in Vodafone Idea, and we have been constantly really talking about the deteriorating health of the company. The stock did turn out to be a speculative bet for many. So one interesting point over here is that whenever people enter the markets, they would really look at the price of the company, and then they would say that this is a cheap company, this is a expensive company. For example, Vodafone Idea at 2-3 rupees is like very cheap, and MRF at 60,000, 50,000 is very expensive, right? So
Yeah, everyone you'll find, like every new player out there who enters the markets have Vodafone Idea and Yes Bank in the portfolio somehow, because they are very cheap
yeah.
stocks.
So I have been asked this question about Vodafone Idea a lot. So if you remember, Anish, the stock has really been a seven bagger. I think from 2-3 rupees it went to what 17-18 rupees as well, right? So a lot of people said that it's a multi bagger. Whenever they serviced any of their obligations, they paid off a debt. People really said that abhi to ye multi bagger hi banega. But then you have all of these events that really happen because sooner or later fundamentals catch up, right? So continuing the answer, right?
Absolutely.
Uh, it is very seldom that turnaround stories really turn around. Is the only thing that turns around is your capital into a loss. Okay. So, like I said, Vodafone Idea is a heavily indebted company. The company's debt of close to 2 lakh crore still stands. Okay. The only thing that has changed in the company is the single largest shareholder, right? The competition in the
Yeah.
telecom space has heated up and will be there for a long time. Incremental capex has to be done to stay competitive. Vodafone Idea has lost a heavy chunk of subscribers. Uh, Even now, the challenge for Vodafone Idea is uphill. In fact, it has become more uphill with the government coming in as a shareholder. God knows what kind of decisions they will take, or the kind of decisions that they will obstruct. They still have to pay interest on their heavy debt. They have to do capex, and that's about it. Only the largest single shareholder has changed. So still really not positive about the company. I'm really positive about the other two players. Again, guys, a disclosure: JST does not hold any telecom company in its portfolio, because we are trying to play another market cycle. So Anish, over here, of course, it's a case of a perfect upcycle in this sector. And of course, I think that there are good times for other telecom players, because this is like a jet moment in the telecom sector. I believe that Bharti Airtel will get really aggressive now, because Sunil Bharti Mittal has been talking about price hikes every single quarter, and he has walked the talk. Their data center business is picking well. So yeah, I believe that the other two players will do very well thanks to this. Anish, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, Anish, we can hear you. We lost you
Okay.
for 10 seconds. Should we open it up
Okay.
for
Okay.
question and answers then?
Yes. So we'll move to Q&A now. Anybody who has any questions with regard to the telecom sector or Vodafone Idea fiasco, please request for becoming a speaker, and I'll approve. Yeah. Swapnil, you can go forward with your question. Yes, Swapnil, I have unmuted you. Please go forward with your question.
Yeah, no questions as such. Just wanted to add something. I think by Vodafone idea, I don't think it is sasta. It is actually quite mehenga
Yeah,
because net worth of Vodafone idea is actually negative, and a lot of people are not getting that this point.
exactly.
Plus, my limited understandings suggest this thing that Vodafone idea will definitely survive. There is no question in that. But the aggression that other players are having, Vodafone will somehow lose that aggression. और
That's
अगर
true.
वोडाफोन को आगे और कुछ करना है तो इन दैट केस दे विल हैव टू go for another tariff hike, and if that happens in that case, my understanding says that the other two players are going to eat the market share from Vodafone Idea.
That's true. That's true. Matlab, so first of all, even Swapnil follows the telecom sector very closely, guys. So I really love his insights always. You are right, Swapnil. Like I said, today's announcement is like a blessing in disguise for the other two players, and वो लोग तो they are going to eat it out. ठीक है? For them, all of that market share has been really served on a plate. So, for example, Reliance Jio, right? So they have gotten all of these low-priced feature phones because they want to really convert all of those 2.5, 3G consumers into 4G consumers, right? So for Jio, I think they are also very well placed. Even Bharti is well placed because they have spectrum in all of the geographies. So दोनों को बहुत अच्छा फायदा होगा इससे.
Yeah, but tell me this, AK,
Yeah,
uh, Air India did survive for the last 20 years, but what's the point? If you're not able to make profits at the end of the day as a business, what's the value that you should be getting? Like, even for a
yeah,
new age company, the thing that investors are betting on is that by FY27, FY25, there will be some profits, and the quantum of that profits will be so large in like FY35 when they become the dominating player, such that it somehow justifies the current valuation. But when you come and value such a company like Vodafone Idea, if it will never become profitable because of the economics don't make sense for them, and the other two players will always try to squeeze them.
that's
So
true.
what are we as a shareholder? You should get out. It's very simple, I
Array,
think.
forget, as a shareholder, as a taxpayer, you should be worried now, because
For
you are
sure.
indirectly owning a deteriorating asset, right? So Air India has gone out and Vodafone has come in. And in fact, Tata Teleservices has also come in. I just read during the space that Tata Teleservices has also converted some of their dues into equity, so government will own Tata Teleservices as well. But all of that aside, Anish, of course, I mean, where will Vodafone Idea end up at is anybody's guess, to be honest. I sincerely hope, for the sake of their stakeholders, that the company does survive. And of course, for from the point of view of a consumer as well, I sincerely hope there are 3-4 players, because I don't want to end up paying 250 rupees for 1 GB, right? But I mean, yeah, that's about it. It's
Yeah.
anybody's guess what will happen. And of course, it's not as if Vodafone Idea can be given a new age company angle, and it will demand a lot of valuations. And what are the kind of infusions that the government will do ahead is also anybody's guess. Of course, elections are around us, so I'm sure that the government may not infuse a lot, but they may have to end up infusing maybe sooner or later, because as we all know, like, telecom is a cash guzzling business. So yeah, because they have to do capex,
Yeah,
right, to
they
stay
would have
relevant.
to.
So yeah.
They would
Yeah,
have to, no doubt
yeah.
about that. Like, Hitesh, please go forward with your question, please. Yeah, Hitesh, we are not able to listen to you.
Anish, add 2-3 people at the same time. This Twitter
Yes.
usually unmutes them after a short while. Yeah.
Yes, Valu Payan, could you please go forward with your question?
Yeah.
And
Good evening. Hi.
Good evening. Yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, I can hear you. And I have a question. Okay. What it will do in consumer point of view? Consumer point of view, it's same, right? Geo and Airtel are doing 1, 2, and Vodafone is already third. So, what change will make on the consumer point? Do you think they already uh, putting all the efforts? Till now, Vodafone revamped last year, and somewhat they actually finding their place. What do you think? They already in the third place, and what will happen in the coming future by converting this shares to a government? What will happen? I don't think anything new will gonna happen. The same thing. The subscriber count will decrease slowly. Maybe gradually, some point of time increase will be there. But my question is, what will happen in the consumer point of view?
Sure. So interesting question. So the thing is, like, so it stands like this, right? So for example, assume that I'm paying 3,000 rupees a year for my Geo plan, right? Uh, and assume that you are a Vodafone Idea user and you're paying, say, 30. You're paying the same 3,000 rupees, right? Now, what me and Anish were really talking about earlier was a whole host of bundled services, right? So what Reliance Jio will start doing from next year is that they will say that, since you're buying a 3,000 plan, I will give you 5% cash back, and I will give you a Prime subscription for 1 month. This is already happening, by the way, in broadband, if I'm not wrong.
It's already happening on postpaid too. Postpaid, they're giving added subscription for Netflix and everything. It's in Vodafone Idea too. And I believe like only shareholders got hit, not the consumers. And one more thing, and everybody like me need three people on the floor. Like after that, only I can able to judge who is best and who is not. Otherwise, it will be a problem for us. If you voting on Geo and Airtel in the market, it will be bloody. As you said, like a 251. It may be the days will come, and I believe that days won't come again. And the tariff hike have been happened 1 month back, and I believe on the consumer front it won't be any changes. But for only people who got hit is the shareholders, and maybe tomorrow will be the judgment day that I need to see. And as far as today it got hit, but maybe tomorrow me the judgment day, as I said.
Yeah, Valu. So sorry, I got cut in between, but I heard the last part, and you're absolutely right. In broadband, a lot of players are doing that same bundle services. But see, at the end of the day, it comes to the kind of service you're providing, right? And we can all agree that I mean, Vodafone Idea's network is not really good. and
Yes, for sure.
and
Like I
yeah.
think their services have gone down. That's why people are going
And
away.
again, see, I'm not
So
saying as if the company is going to go irrelevant or it's not going to matter from tomorrow onwards because the government has come as a shareholder. But I mean, of course, I'm just saying this, that they have a lot of problems, and subscriber exodus is one of them.
and what you said in the first line could possibly happen over time because everyone knows how a private and a public company works and what's the
And
difference.
also,
So
Vilu asked from the point of view of a consumer, right? So, see, the thing is, see, prices are going to go up from here, that's for sure, because let's not be mistaken here, nobody is here to do janta ka service or anything of that sorts. Okay, they all have spent lakhs of crores on their capex, right? Both Bharti and Jio, and then they're going to squeeze it out, let's be very honest. Okay, as a consumer, I believe a big the recent price hike that happened, right? I think that resulted in a almost 25 to 40% price hikes across all of our plans. So that will keep happening. Let's be very upfront about it. Because they are a for-profit company, right? So profit is their main motive. So they're going to keep hiking it. That's for sure.
100%. So next question, Jayesh, please go forward with your question.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for doing this. I wanted to ask, what if government brings in BSNL and Vodafone together, and how does this affect to each other, like both of the entities, while both are loss making,
Yeah.
or like BSNL 5G and Vodafone gets I don't know, the cash component, or what support it gets from government. Like, does it affect each other in a positive way, or does it nothing
See, the thing
do
is,
nothing?
BSNL, MTNL, all of these companies are loss making. The government is planning to merge them, was planning to merge BSNL and MTNL, and then sell off their assets as well. But all of these efforts have been in vain. So it's like this, Jayesh. You have two sick assets and then you merge them. But I don't really think that it's going to bring out a positive effect. I mean, for example, say Jio and Bharti Airtel were to merge, then it would have been a crazy event, right? Because they would drive synergies from each other. Bharti would draw synergies from their foreign assets. Jio would draw, synergies from the kind of bundled assets that they have. But then I don't really see what's the benefit, or what is something good that these two companies have to bring about a synergistic effect.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Jayesh.
much.
Yes, so Charan, could you go forward with your question, please?
Hi guys, good afternoon.
Yeah, good
So
afternoon.
my question was regarding Reliance Jio. So I just wanted to know if in Jio we have all these software services like internet services like Jio Savan, then Jio Chat, Jio Meet application, and a bunch of other services like
Yeah.
Jio News. So apart from the telecom and broadband and GeoMart, like, do you guys have any idea like how much they contribute to the top line, or also your view like on monetization of these services?
Yeah. So Charan, this is like DMart shopping. Okay. So whenever you go to DMart, you would buy the main items from your checklist, and then chota mota items will pick up on the way. So that DMart is nothing but your Geo ecosystem, right? So you come in, your main product is your telecom, right? You subscribe for your plans. Maybe you buy Geo Savan. So what Reliance is basically trying to do over here is they are trying to build an ecosystem, both Geo as a company and the whole Reliance ecosystem, because they have been buying a lot of assets here, there, and everywhere. But to answer your question, they haven't really given the breakup as to how much these services contribute to the complete top line. And my guess is also that it won't be a lot, because I mean, these are all startups after all. They do earn money, and of course, Reliance is not really the best when it comes to disclosures. Bharti is one of the best when it comes to disclosures. So yeah, not Reliance.
Yes, Samir, you can go forward with your question.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening. So
Good evening.
my question was related to the management part. Like now, government taking up 35%, and then the distribution 28% with Vodafone, 17-18% with the Aditya Birla Group. So does that create a problem with the reference of from the point of view of management decisions that are to be taken by the company,
Yeah, yeah.
because now there's no one single owner as
Absolutely.
such.
So Samir, the government has some really amazing companies, right? Companies like say Midhani, which makes special alloys for ISRO, right? They are one of the few companies in the world that does that. They have companies that make frigates. They have companies that make aircraft carriers. They're into ship repair and shipbuilding. But if you look at their valuation multiples, they are like 10, 15, or 17 times price to earnings at the max, or even 8 times price to earnings. The reason is that government is not really a great stakeholder to be in partnership with. So I will tell you why. Uh, so let me give you an example of 2018 or 19. I'm not really sure about the year, but I think it's 2019. So I think the government had set a divestment target of 1 lakh crores, and it fell short of it, of course. So what the government did was that all the good PSU listed companies that it had, it announced a special dividend from those companies. So one of those companies was Cochin Shipyard. Okay, it listed at a good premium. That company really interested me as well because they were building India's first aircraft carrier. They had a good management. They had good capex in line. But due to that one time special dividend, the government benefited the most. And at what cost? Just because they had to achieve one target, that 1 lakh crore target they had to achieve. So it's like this, you are in partnership with a promoter whose actions are not really calculated, are not really great in line with your with your targets. So that is why all of these companies trade at low valuation multiples, and it's a high probability that even Vodafone Idea, all of this speculation bubble that has been created in Vodafone Idea, even that may get cooled down, because then people will start to realize that the government may not really take decisions that are really positive to them. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Yes, Mr. Hitesh, please go forward with your question.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Hitesh.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for the opportunity. So, and thanks for so much information about telecom sector. So, I just had a question regarding, as you told, like Airtel, Bharti Airtel has diversified its business, right? So, like they are into data center business as well as like they are also into music streaming, right? Like through Bink, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So and data center business is very competitive, right? Because there are global companies like because I am from the IT sector, so we most of the company use like cloud services from Google, AWS, or Azure, right? Or even like Oracle is also there providing the cloud services, right? So they also have their data center, right? So and then I think Tata Communication is also doing the data center business, right? So can you please give some insight like how this data center or like music streaming business is doing for Airtel?
Yeah, I think we lost AK, but I'll just add some points till then. So yes, data centers business at this point in time, as and when the data that the world is generating is expanding at a very exponential pace. So most of these companies are buying up a lot of data center assets across the world. The cloud companies that you actually named. So that's why a lot of these builders and even players like Bharti Airtel and Tata Communications are trying to enter this business. Even someone like Tejas Networks or STL Tech is trying to provide a lot more products to them such that they want to enter this business, because this particular segment of the real estate business will grow at a very high pace over the next decade. Because the world is going in the digital arena, we are all going into the metaverse. So yes, the amount of data that will be created will be huge, and you will need huge data center assets to cater to them. And that's why but at the end of the day, each and every one is investing into it. So to make a very high ROC just for the sake of investing into a data center, I think might be a big question. We don't really know how the cycles will play out here. But yes, AK, please go ahead with your points if you have.
No, I think I concur with Anish. Of course, for example, if I talk about Bharti Airtel and Nextra business, I believe the data center business is called. So yeah, of course, some of the metrics are really good, but we haven't really looked under the hood to really conclude that okay, this is going to be like the next lever of growth or sort of that. Yeah.
But
And
at the end of the
that's
day,
it.
this will be a small part of the total business. So, to point out anything and base your investing decisions on just the data center business would not be right at this point in time.
And one more thing, so like, so whenever I heard like Jio is planning to sell phone as well, like a device along with the 5G, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
correct.
because like generally as a customer, right, I want flexibility in terms of mobile phone set, right? And then if I
Yeah.
put a SIM card, right, where I can get the 5G services, right, I am okay, right? So
Mhm.
how do you think like it could be the game changer for Reliance Jio, because there I do not have any flexibility in terms of phone set.
So Hitesh ji, the thing is, the phone is not made for users like you and me. To be honest, it is made for users who have been in the hinterland and they have been using QWERTY phones, right? Those Nokia wala phones, right, with a flashlight. So the thing is, it's a play at getting all of those 2.5G users to the 4G ecosystem through the feature phone. So the feature phone is going to be very competitively priced, as we know. Matlab, if I'm not wrong, even the price that has been decided, Anish, I believe it is 7 or 8,000, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, even that is quite expensive for those kind of users. But
Yes.
yeah, the whole play is at migrating those users to the newer band spectrum. Yeah, the
Yeah, but
play
I
isn't
think
on the phone; it's on the
they will
ecosystem.
provide
Yeah,
all the services at a very low cost, I think.
absolutely. So the
With
phone,
respect to that.
yeah, so the phone will only have Geo services. The phone can be only used with a Geo SIM, and that's fine. I mean, that's how these deals usually work. Yeah.
Yes. So Sanjay ji, please go forward with your question.
Yeah, hi, good evening. I've
Good
just
evening.
been listening to you all quite intently. With the government taking 35% plus in Vodafone Idea, do you not believe that they're going to take greater care to ensure, the healthiness of the sector, given that, a year down the line you're going to have the 5G spectrum auction, and without a viable Vodafone Idea, obviously the government is not going to generate the kind of revenues it's looking at. In a two-horse race, you're not going to get, government isn't going to make the money that they expect to make. That's one. And two, how do you see government influencing management decisions in Vodafone Idea, being that it's 30% plus owner now?
Yeah, so second part, of course, government being the largest single shareholder, of course, they will get some representation on the board. And of course, since they get the representation on the board, they would have the power to influence those decisions. So that's what we mentioned. Like we were talking about it, Sanjay, in the second part of the presentation, that it goes on to be seen what kind of decisions the government led board takes, or the kind of decisions they really obstruct. See, honestly speaking, like I said, the government may take actions that are not really shareholder friendly, and that's about it. Matlab, nothing more to add. I mean, if you have a more specific pointed question, then yeah, I would be happy
Yes,
to answer that.
when you say government may not take decisions which are shareholder friendly, let's
Yeah,
not forget the biggest, largest shareholder will be the government itself. So the
yeah,
government
absolutely.
would definitely take predisposed decisions that
Yeah,
would, in order to generate maximum revenue for itself.
Yeah, but that's how governments work. No, government
Yeah. So how
doesn't
do
have any
in
business
this
say in
ecosystem, how
business.
do you look at what is Geo going to do and what is
hmm.
Bharti going to do? It's
Yeah,
the Air
Oh,
India
that's
situation right all over again.
yeah. So
it will
Sanjay
be
ji,
the Air
yeah.
India situation.
So, Sanjay ji, the thing is, what happened today really presents a lifetime opportunity for Bharti and Jio. I mean, for Jio, they have always had measures that were always pro for them. So I will just leave it at that. I hope you understand what I mean over there. For
Yes,
Bharti
yes.
Airtel, I believe Sunil Bharti Mittal would be celebrating right now as we speak, because he has been extremely bullish on the sector. He has been continuously guiding that ARPUs need to move from here up in the north direction. And of course, now that he has his opportunity, they're going to go on a what you say, hike cycle for sure, because they need to recoup all the losses, all the turbulence that they had experienced in the past few years.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So next question is from Jyotil. I'll have added you as a speaker. Please go ahead. Yeah, Jyotil, please go ahead. Raj, I have added you as a speaker. Please go ahead with your question. Yeah, I just wanted to add this point till someone asked the question. Like, I think Vodafone Idea, the government, what they did, like, there was no other way for the government to save this player, to be very honest. So, this is something that they had to do. And from here, at this point in time, they will try to. This is a very dynamic situation. The boat is sinking. And now the captain has to make a lot of decisions, and it will be, and that's why we think that for the stakeholders that currently stay with the business, it might not make a lot of economic sense for them to, because this government will have its own objectives, and they will try to just protect they will just try to keep the patient alive, but that doesn't mean that it will continue to churn a lot of profits, it will become a cash cow, or it will be very lucrative for you as a shareholder. So that is what I would like to add, and I think that was our last question for the day. And we'll meet again to discuss latest business developments as we always do in our spaces. Thank you so much.